Okay. All right. It looks like we are recording. I just want to make sure here. Yes, we are recording. Okay. Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, August 18th, 2016, and my name is Erik Wolf, and I serve as the Executive Director of the World Food Travel Association based in Portland, Oregon. And I have with us today a very esteemed group of individuals who are going to be talking about coffee tourism in Nicaragua. So first I would like to introduce, we have Karen Kuhl, who's with Selva, Negra, a coffee plantation in Nicaragua. We also have Thierry Lippert. Apologies if I didn't pronounce your last name correctly, Thierry.
That's perfect. No problem.
I'm not sure if it should be, a Dutch pronunciation, French, or what exactly. But anyway, Thierry is the ambassador of Luxembourg to Nicaragua. And then we have Jose Luis Garcia Gonzalez, who works there on the Cafe Plantation. So I would just like to kind of start with Karen and tell us a little bit about how you got started in this, why coffee, why Nicaragua, all that good stuff.
Well, I am rooted in Nicaragua and in coffee. I am a fifth generation coffee producer through my ancestors who came from Germany to Nicaragua to start the exportation of coffee through business relationships. We've had this particular farm, my parents purchased it in '75, and at that time we also got into the tourism angle of things. The tourism was secondary during that time. We've always had shade coffee plantation, which produces a bit less compared to sun and technified coffee, which lend itself perfectly to a tourism angle. Having a beautiful mountain, having beautiful coffee, entice individuals to come and want to stay. It has been a slow evolution over the last 40 years that has brought us today to being one of the lead in the coffee tourism area of northern Nicaragua. We offer a variety of different coffee tours, different coffee experiences within the farm and the neighboring areas.
Nice. And so why Nicaragua? Why not Honduras or Costa Rica or Colombia?
This is just where my relatives ended up. Nicaragua during that time was offering land in exchange for basically business contacts for exporting the coffee. Coffee was already being produced and was very successful in Nicaragua. But in the higher northern highlands where we sit, there wasn't that much production and they weren't being exported during that time. So that's my relatives in late 1800s accepted the offer and they came to Nicaragua and started growing and exporting coffee.
Okay, and then did you grow up in Nicaragua?
I did. I was born in Nicaragua. I was raised here through my elementary years, and then we moved to the United States, that's where my English comes from. I attended universities in Florida and got my master's in tourism at NYU, and I came back to run the operations here. Okay,
great. And for everyone watching today, I put up a map of Nicaragua. So this is where it is in Central America, Costa Rica down here, Mexico is up in this direction, and then Selva Negra, is that the correct location, Karen?
That is correct.
Great. So we can fly our drones over you and spy on you now.
You know where we're at.
Excellent. Cool. All right. Fantastic. Well, it sounds like you got a really good deal when your ancestors decided to move to Nicaragua.
We ended up in a good place. Yes, yeah. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, a good place to be born and raised. All right. Now, Thierry, you're the ambassador for Luxembourg. Why does Luxembourg care about coffee in Nicaragua?
We not only care about coffee in Nicaragua, we care about Nicaragua as a whole. In Nicaragua is one of our 11 target countries for development aid, where we concentrate ourselves in projects. And in Nicaragua, it so happened that already like 15 years ago, we started a little bit in the tourism sector through the construction of the first national hotel school here, which was supposed to help through vocational training the people of Nicaragua have a better quality of service and thus enhance tourism, because we saw that the tourism figures were growing a lot here and were even having a big effect on poverty reduction. So that's basically how we started. with tourism, with our hotel school. And then afterwards, we were looking for other sectors where we said, like, okay, now how can we create other opportunities, not only for our students who come out of the school, but also for the people who are living in these rural areas where tourism is growing, but which don't profit actually from the tourism at that time. And that's when we started, together with the Ministry of Tourism of Nicaragua, to look a little bit at a concept which is called tourism routes. Yeah, there's a few different tourism routes in Nicaragua. There's the Ruta del Café, which we started already 9 years ago. There is the Ruta de los Volcanes en las Ciudades Coloniales, so colonial cities and volcanoes, which we are heavily involved in too, under a financing from the European Union. And then there's a few other routes which are more like nationally promoted. Now, what did we do? How to join basically the poverty alleviation with the tourism development? The Ruta del Café was a project where we tried to integrate a product that we would then offer on the national, the regional, and the international market to basically boost tourism visits to the north of the country, which is one of the poorest regions that Nicaragua has. And we tried to work basically bottom up, but also top down, to work with the high-end tourism operators like Selva Negra, for example, to try to integrate them a little bit more, to give them also a little bit of technical assistance on how to profit maybe from this new product that we were developing, the Ruta del Café. But we were mostly, of course, working with small farmers, with students, through vocational training, technical assistance, to bring them into the chain of value of the tourism that was developing there. That was one aspect, which was the grassroots one. And then we worked, of course, also with the government of Nicaragua to promote more effectively the tourism, to promote more effectively the coffee tourism in the north, thus bringing in more tourists and have a trickle-down effect.
So it's really kind of a double deal. You've got the tourism investment, but then you've also got the coffee export investment.
Yes, I mean, we as Luxembourg don't work directly in the coffee export. But of course, as a member of the European Union, we were heavily involved in the negotiation of the trade deal that the European Union has with Central America, with all Central American countries. And of course, coffee is one of the main products that comes within that trade deal. So yes, there's two benefits to the operators: the tourism, the coffee, and now also with the climate change and so on, we're even seeing a third benefit that we're trying to add on right now through investments in reforestation, meaning that we are trying to encourage small, medium, and big growers to put in new secondary forests in their coffee plantations to generate a third revenue in a few years, which is selling the wood, but also generating carbon dioxide certificates, which again, you know, we're really trying to put it into synergy and to integrate the whole approach and to maximize the profit for the people.
Excellent. And I imagine quite a bit of Nicaraguan coffee ends up in Luxembourg. Right?
We love it there, but in many other European countries too. Of
course. Well, yeah, coffee is a very popular product. You know, I can't say I've ever tried Nicaraguan coffee. I've had Costa Rican and Colombian, of course. I've had Mexican coffee, but I'm going to have to come visit, taste it for myself.
You even get it in some Starbucks now in the US, because I had one in New York, the last one I was there.
Oh, really? Starbucks. Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'll have to look for that. But what are the characteristics of Nicaraguan coffee? How is it different from other coffees nearby?
I'll give that one to Karen, because she's the coffee expert, and I would be a little bit at a loss there.
Yeah, I guess I can field that question. Nicaraguan coffee is similar to other Central American coffees, but specifically the coffee from the northern section of Nicaragua, since it's higher altitude, it has more depth to it.
Okay.
It is often categorized as a full body, slight chocolate flavored coffee. The notes are very good, and there's a lot of cups of excellency winners in the northern area of Nicaragua. So that makes it even more interesting as a destination for tourism perspectives, the coffee, because it is a well-known and well-recognized quality coffee that you do find in a lot of, especially around the Portland area, a lot of coffee shops that do want to recognize not only the quality of the coffee, but the plantation where it comes from. The coffee estate that cares about the environment, cares about the trees, the wildlife that surrounds it. And that does categorize a lot of coffees in the northern area of Nicaragua.
Okay, let's go back to the map here. How far are you from Managua?
Selva Negra is 2 hours door to door from the airport. Managua traffic is a beast of its own, so I never categorize the city itself. You can take 2 hours to traverse the city.
Yeah.
But from the airport, which is in the northern section of the city, to Selva Negra is a 2-hour drive.
Okay, so I'm just looking, where's the airport on here?
You're still not close enough to identify it. If you look at the main road system, the one that goes towards Tipitapa,
Right.
it would.
There you have it.
Further
Yep.
up. Oh.
That it? Okay, so it's on the east side, northeast side. Okay, and
Yeah,
so you said it's
yeah.
a 2-hour drive?
Yep. The roads are in excellent condition. Clients who travel around most of Central America say Nicaragua has some of the best roads in Central America at the moment.
Yeah, that's a very easy drive. Now, apart from what you do, there must be other plantations and ecolodges and other tourist things that are happening nearby.
Yes, there are several other places very similar to us. There is Finca Esperanza Verde, La Sombra, El Jaguar, La Bastilla. Some of these are much smaller. Some of the ones are our size. Some of them cater to slightly different kind of tourism, but there is definitely an offer, and it's growing thanks to the investments that Thierry and Luxembourg has made in the area. One of the interesting connections that I wanted to make with what Thierry was discussing is the investment in the hospitality schools that they have started. A lot of our personnel have attended the courses, and it has raised the quality and the standards and that Northern Nicaragua is able to offer our tourists. Nicaragua is still at an early stages of tourism. I mean, especially compared to Costa Rica, our neighbor, who has been strong in the industry for so long. But it does offer us an opportunity to try to do the right kind of tourism to where we can promote much more the sustainability and the green tourism. And that's one of the interesting things about coffee as a promoter of tourism. There's a lot of bad practices in coffee, and there's a lot of good practices in coffee. By promoting tourism, you are opening it up to more eyes to see what you're doing. There's a lot of certifications, and certification is very confusing both for the producer as well as the consumer. But if you can come see the place itself, you know what you're buying. You know what quality it is. So Jose Luis can talk about that in a little more detail because he has personal contact with the people, the tourists themselves that come through. And they go home more as an educated consumer of coffee as was more responsible traveler.
Excellent. So this is good. So there's obviously there's a critical mass now of coffee plantations, activities and experiences. So this is great. Someone can maybe come stay at Selva Negra and then try some of the neighboring plantations, trying the different coffees and so on. I'm just thinking, you know, if I'm a coffee lover, which I am, and I want to come to Nicaragua and do coffee tourism, does the national website aggregate this information, or is the visitor kind of left to figure it out on their own?
I think, unfortunately, it's a delicate balance. I think the tourist still has to do a lot of their own individual research. There is some information on it, but I don't know how easily accessible it is to the general tourist.
Okay.
If you allow me just to intervene in there, Karen is completely right, and the tourism ministry still has lots of efforts to make, especially in internet marketing and in putting also a little bit more the operators together. We don't have enough big tour operators which can really generate and sell it as a whole. What we are doing at the moment, and it's a really small project, but I think it will help the Ruta del Café, is that we are currently developing an interactive ebook which will be free to download on all Android systems and so on, where we will put in all the information that we gathered from the Ruta del Café, which will be geolocalized, so you can see exactly what is where and where to go. And I think that is that will help it a little bit, but we are really in the first steps. And like I said, I mean, a lot of work, not only for the northern region, a lot of work in marketing still has to be done in Nicaragua.
Well, Thierry, when that's ready, let us know. We can help you get the word out about that. We send a weekly newsletter out and be happy to help you spread the word.
That would be great. Thank you so much for the offer.
Sure. Now I'm looking here at La Ruta del Café. Now, is this, what is Ocho Leguas? Who's that entity?
Okay.
Is that a news website?
Ocho Leguas. It's like a good topic, you know. The Ocho Leguas means like more than 20 kilometers, exactly.
El Mundo is in
yeah.
It is on a Spanish website, actually, El Mundo, which is a big Spanish newspaper,
right,
in Spain. And this report was written by this small website, which is a travel website.
Okay. All right. Got it. Okay. So, and everyone can see the link there in the screen. And then we'll also repost these links on our YouTube channel so people can easily link to it from there. So this is all good information. Now, I read Spanish, but what happens if someone does not read Spanish? They just have to use Google Translate?
In this particular instance, yes. There is a couple of other areas. Villanica is a website that talks a lot about tourism in Nicaragua, and it is bilingual.
This one here. Okay, is
Yes.
this a news website, tourism website, tour operator?
It's a tour information site. It's like our own little mini TripAdvisor, if you want to put it that way, based specifically on Nicaragua. They rate a lot of hotels. There is a comment system. They have a lot of tour operators who participate in there. Okay. And they highlight and promote specific itineraries of national tour operators.
I get it. So Via Nica for Nicaragua. Got it. Okay, that's clever. So this could be a really good resource for anyone watching who is interested in heading down or over or up, wherever you're coming from, to Nicaragua. This could be a really good resource. And I don't mean that things should necessarily be in English. Obviously, French, German, Chinese, Japanese. You know, you have people coming from all over the world. Yeah. Okay.
It's a good hint, actually, just to mention it. I mean, most of this information actually exists already, but like I said, it hasn't really been put into a package and put out. We produced a lot of flyers in all the different languages, and also some like travel guides, but like I said, we're having a few problems at the moment with the Ministry of Tourism to bring all of that online in a packaged way. It
takes time. Everyone has to start somewhere. So now, exactly. This website here, Karen, you also sent this to me. This is Responsible Tours from Dia Nova. What can you tell us about this resource?
Unfortunately, not a lot. I used it as a base for research myself and to identify information around Nicaragua, but I do not know much about the source behind it.
Okay. So sustainable tourism in Nicaragua. Okay, so this could be another resource for people. All right. Well, let's dig a little bit deeper then into Selva Negra and what you do. Would you like to introduce Jose Luis? And then also let me know when you would like to play some of the videos that you have for us.
Okay. Yeah. Jose Luis has as one of our guides that works through Selva Negra to do specifically the coffee tour and also a sustainable farm tour. Selva Negra is What we identify as a 3-tier organization. We have a nature reserve, over 300 acres of private rainforest and virgin rainforest. We have about over 300 acres of coffee plantation. And then we have a sustainable farm, which feeds most of our clients at the restaurant. Jose Luis is in charge of all those tours, and he deals personally with a lot of the individuals who do the tours. And here's all the comments.
Yeah, for example, the farm tour, we like to say farm to table, and we like to talk about very, very sustainable system or sustainable topic with tourists. Talking about how grow organic vegetable, for example, talking about cheeses. We have like a 12 type cheeses on the farm, the European cheeses, and where they have like a poultry area. This is like chicken, quails, hens, and the production about that. And talking about more to the organic system to get that, okay? Because I think everybody know how grow, for example, vegetable or different kind of cheeses, or for example, how take the poultry area. But when you talk about organic, it's a topic that people sometimes they don't know how they do that, and then we like to show you about and teaching about this system. Okay, so we have we have to talking about to the cows, for example, how we rotate the cows, how we feed the cows, but more, for example, not another type of food like Taiwan grass, for example. Many people they have like a different. I like to say Monsanto's food, you know that. So when they buy some seed to grow Taiwan grass, but different, but we have the original one. We have the original grass, for cows, and we like to talk about how many manure the cow produce, and the manure we use to feed like a fertilizer to put in the same grass for cows, and then it's like together like more organic milk to make cheeses and to use in the restaurant. Mm-hmm. And we like to talk about how, for example, how grow or how make organic compost with worm. We have many worms, and we have the bokashi compost, and we have different things to do the organic compost. And for example, the algae to the aquatic plants in the lake, cow manure, pig manure, poultry manure, coffee layers, coffee house, rye house, something like that. And if we like to learn, we like to teach and talking about with tourists. And the tourists, they have different ideas when they come to the restaurant and when they're going to eat in the restaurant.
So Jose Luis, how many visitors do you get each year, and what is the most popular time for people to come?
Okay, for coffee, I think the very popular time, or like a busy time, it's not like November to the December, and November to February exactly. It's like a harvest coffee time, and it's when the people like come. Many people come to take a coffee tour and like to do the farm tour, but it's more popular coffee because you can see everything, the whole system, or the many activities in the coffee. Yeah.
And how many visitors do you get per year?
Exactly. I don't know. Maybe kind of like to talk about that.
We get, I don't know, about 20,000 guests a year. Half of those would be national guests who don't particularly come for the educational experience, but for the relaxation of the mountain and the organic foods that we serve. Our second market would be North America, Canada, and the US primarily, of course. But we're trying to expand to greater European markets, specifically with the coffee tours, because it is something that's highly consumed, and it is an easy grab. People love their coffee, and coming to learn where the coffee comes from is of high interest. Sure. But yeah, we do rotate quite a few numbers.
And I think among food travelers, what we call secondary and tertiary destinations. So, after you've done the Paris, London, New York, Hong Kong, what's next? And, a lot of people, once they've been to Spain, France, Italy, Greece, they're looking for something new and different. And we do find that people tend to start specializing in commodity groups. So you've got tea tourism in Sri Lanka and Korea. Chocolate tourism, obviously, Ecuador is a good place for that. And people are looking to really find the source of things. And so it's great that they now know that there's a resource in Nicaragua. I mean, I imagine quite a few people know that coffee comes from Nicaragua, but you always see Colombia on coffee bag labels, or you see Ethiopia sometimes, you see Indonesia quite a lot. When I was in Ecuador, I had amazing coffee, but again, you don't really see Ecuadorian coffee so frequently. And I think for Nicaraguan coffee, it's kind of the same thing. You're not Indonesia, so you don't have that size production, but the quality may be very high. So I think it's great that people now know that this resource is available. We have your new website up, which looks fantastic, really, really nice and sharp. And then we've got your old website here that's probably got more information on it right now. Tell us about your restaurant. I'm curious I wanted to see your menu.
The menu's not up just yet, as you can see. We cater, like I said, specifically to, food right up the hill. That's our quote. We do farm-to-table foods. Oh, there you go. Most of the products, a little flour on the side, is products that have primary ingredients from the farm. We have all of our own fruits and vegetables, dairy products. We also raise our chicken, so we've got chicken and we've got the eggs. We've got beef as well. Our beef goes entirely towards the ground beef production because we don't have such a high quantity in order to do all of our steaks. But you get the best burgers in town. We have
in the country.
We have organic cattle, so they're organically grazed on pasture in a system that Jose Luis was alluding to, which is an intensive cattle ranching system, which is one of the most sustainable ways of raising cattle. Then our cheeses are from our own dairy cows that we have here nearby. Once again, we cannot increase production because there are very few farms that can raise such good Jersey, heavy cream cows like we can and have the cheese production of quality. And the list goes on and on. Every day we put in an order with our vegetable guy in the farm saying we need this, we need that, what do you have fresh? We're trying to introduce more the plate of the day concept that with the excess products that we have available, whatever is ripe at the moment and we don't have the clientele moving through, let's make a special dish. You can't get fresher ingredients. We do have also a mini CSA type system that we do sell bags of fresh vegetables to Managua. Primarily, clients who contact us directly and find out what is the fresh things of the week. And we send out products as well. We send eggs, butter, and as well as the fruits and vegetables.
Okay. So let me, well, these all look tasty. I'm not familiar with native Nicaraguan dishes, but I would say probably the tostones is something that's probably very common in Latin America and Caribbean. But it looks like a lot of these could be on any American menu, but I think the difference is that you're using all local ingredients, high quality, organic when possible. So, what I would add place names here. So hamburger with Selva Negra organic beef and Selva Negra something cheese, add value to it, right?
Absolutely, you're right.
Just to mention too, because I go and eat there a lot, this is not the full menu. There's actually a second page, which must not be online now, and which has also got some German, okay, there you go. Which also has some German specialties, and because of the German origins, of course, of Selva Negra, and Selva Negra means Schwarzwald too, from Germany. And it's really great when you come out of Managua and you had 2 months only Nicaraguan food. It's good to have a good hamburger or a good schnitzel sometimes.
Yeah, Wiener Schnitzel, look at that. Wow, I think I'd start with the garlic shrimp, and I'd move into the pollo a la abuela. That's my lunch menu. Can you have that delivered by noon?
Delivered will be a little challenging.
Oh, darn. Okay, I guess we'll have to come down. Well, let's go back and talk a little bit more about this Ruta del Café, because this is really interesting. I think that it looks like it's made possible a lot of the opportunity here. Jose Luis, have you seen, what kind of impact have you seen La Ruta del Café have on the activities in the farm or in your area?
Okay, you know, the La Ruta del Café is like involved like a 5 department, I think. Okay, so I think the La Ruta del Café is like help a lot of people, you know, in the different communities. I think, for example, my example, you know, I'm going to put my example. I was born on this farm, and Ammonia and like Selva Negra area. And my parents, they was working here for a long time, but just in coffee, you know. But for example, my personal, you know, I was working here for a long time, but not just in coffee. Okay, like me and another guy, they born on the farm. Now they work in another job. Okay, for example, I was working at different opportunities. They have different opportunities for me. Like I was working in coffee for a long time, but when they farm, going to like a diversified farm, you know, with different things. I was working in mechanic shop, carpentry, flowers, and waiters, and I was there a little bit English, and now I'm tour guide, and I know many things now because it's like my personal, you know, my family changed, you know, and now I have my own home. I have you know, the different job, and I learn everything. And I think in another small communities and small Ecolodge, like La Sombra Ecolodge, for example, they have different activities for your people, for your workers, you know, not just coffee. Some workers, they work in like a tour guide. They know everything about frog. They know everything about snake, and they have different job like to talk with with tour, you know. And I think it's like good to the Ruta del Café comments, you know, and it's like help different people and here in the north. Yeah.
Okay. Karen, what would you say the economic impact has been from La Ruta del Café?
I think the grassroots of it is exactly what Jose Luis said. There is greater opportunities with better education from the hospitality school. There are more farms and more small lodges that are being created. And there's a better opportunity for people that's a basic agricultural community. Everybody, the local towns are on here, and that's part of what our coffee tour caters to, is for people to realize the economic necessity that coffee is here. It's the biggest economic stimulus. But now with concepts like Ruta del Café, there are other opportunities. People have an opportunity for different kind of employment. They are interested in participating in the hospitality school in order to get a job as a waiter, in order to get a job as a tour guide, in order to get a job as a cook. And more little places are opening up these opportunities because there has been an interest. People at somebody like Luxembourg has actually invested a lot of money in helping people see these opportunities. The greater economic impact is much bigger than, because as more tourism comes through, more people see what there is. They see the impact that their purchasing choices at home have in the communities they have visited.
Yeah.
So more small tourism offers, it creates a very giant economic impact in the communities.
If you allow me, Erik, just to maybe complement one or two things that were said, which is completely true, but it is called the Ruta del Café. Like José Luis also said, it's over 5 departments, so you still have diversity. This is coffee country, but it's not only coffee country. So we work, for example, a lot with the local artists, the crafts, to develop them and to bring them to the tourism market, and not only like sell them in between the villages, to give them a value added. We trained people in there, and now you have beautiful crafts coming out of the region. What you don't have to forget too is Esteli is also part of the Ruta del Café. And there, if you come, you have to pass by there, because Esteli has, according to Cigar Magazine, in the last 3 years, won best cigar in the world. So, you know, forget the Cuban cigars, forget the others, go to Esteli and you will get the best. So there are other opportunities nearby. It's built around coffee. Coffee should be the base of it, but the tourist can see a lot of other things. And opening up these new markets, these new segments, has also helped a lot of children of Nicaraguan coffee workers to expand their horizons, like José Luis is the best example, and to go into new sectors and to go into new employments. And then we see it now already that the third generation, so José Luis's kids, will already have new operations and new opportunities again. And this is a little bit the philosophy of the sustainability of that project, which now already is fully in the hands of the Nicaraguans. We are, we have finished our cycle of intervention in there.
That's very close to the next question I was going to ask you, was what's next in your 5-year plan for Nicaragua?
That's a good question. Waiting for the elections this year. And no, we are building up. We are currently negotiating a new plan with Nicaragua. We're going to stay in the tourism sector, but I think we have to focus a little bit more, like I said, on the marketing side, on the centralized side. And our government has asked us to not only concentrate us in the north, because there's a lot of poverty and there's a lot of development also in beach tourism, in rainforest tourism, in cacao tourism. So I think the next 2 years or so, we will spend much more as a central level to help them build up more capacities to manage the sector as a whole.
Yeah.
Not forgetting our people in the north, because they will always be in our heart and they will always be at the forefront of what we do here. But I think in the next years we'll work a little bit more towards a more centralized approach and helping them to put the word out more, because we think that now the service quality is already good enough to go and seek new markets. 5 years ago it wasn't. If we would have done too much promotion, and you know how your travelers are and your listeners, if you go somewhere and you don't get treated well the first time, you don't give it a second chance.
Yeah, word of mouth.
We had to build that up. So that's a little bit the idea, but the rutas will go on. We will be linked to them, but most of our funds will go a little bit more into the centralized development of tourism in Nicaragua.
Excellent. Sounds like a great plan. Karen, when's your new website going to launch?
Hello, are we back?
You are back, yes.
I don't know what happened.
When will your new website launch?
Hopefully within 2 weeks.
Very soon. Okay.
Yes.
Before we wrap up today, I would like people to make sure that everyone knows that we have a brand new community platform that's launched. People can access it at community.worldfoodtravel.org. And Karen, are you on there yet?
I don't think so.
No, you should join. We have a free membership, and it's a great way for people to network and get involved. And then we just launched this suggestions page on our website too. So many people, they come to our website, they're overwhelmed, they say, gosh, you guys do so much. How can I get started? So we put together this little menu of choices for people to help them to get started in food tourism. So I'd kind of like to wrap up. I think we've spent our 40 minutes here. But before doing that, I'd like to just ask each of you if there's anything else that you think that we've forgotten that maybe you'd like to have some closing comments or something for our listeners?
On my part, I would love for you to, if you can, roll the video of the coffee tour, because I think it's a very good visual effect of all the things that go through in serving you the cup of coffee every morning.
Yeah.
It's just, I think, a minute and a half.
Certainly have time for that.
Gracias.
Isn't that your mother?
That is indeed my mother.
Sí. ¿Se preguntan alguna vez de dónde viene esta taza de café?
She looks fun.
¿Cómo se produce? ¿De dónde sale?
She is an amazing
Nos
woman.
invitamos a disfrutar de un tour del café. Encontrará que hay tanto más en una taza de café. Reserve su tour ahorita para que uno de nuestros guías lo lleve en un inolvidable viaje desde la semilla hasta la
You go, Mom. That's great. I love it.
I don't know if it was just my connection, but that video was glitchy, but
it could have been transmitting. Yeah, it could be that. That's the reason. For anyone watching, the YouTube channel is a little hard to find, so type in Selva, Negra, Ecolodge, and it should pull up the channel, and there's 23 videos there. And there's one more of the food. Do you want to watch the cake one? I do. Wow, look at that. Oh, that was very fast.
The first video had my mother in it. The pastry chef is my brother-in-law.
Okay, all right. And then maybe we could just do a little quick tour of the farm. There's the hamburger.
There's the burger.
Estando aquí, me siento parte de la naturaleza.
So beautiful there.
It is amazing.
Y los animales, los pollos, las vacas pequeñas y grandes.
Todo lo que se consume aquí es.
And also just to say one more thing, which is really great, if you are afraid that you won't wake up for your early morning coffee tour in Selva Negra, they actually have howler monkeys there, which will wake you up at around 6 or 7 o'clock without any problems. So you don't even have to bring your alarm clock.
Excellent. Oh, cute little kids. Wow. Fantastic. All right. So the website for anyone watching is selvanegra.com. And those were great. Thanks for reminding me about the videos there, Karen. Anything else that you guys would like to share before wrapping up? No?
Just to thank you very much for having us.
It's our pleasure. Karen, what were you saying?
Thank you. As of Anita, we will be launching a tour operator this year, which will be catering specifically to food tourism and looking at it from an agricultural perspective. It's not just come and, you know, do a tour of different restaurants, but come and see the grassroots of the crops that are national in Nicaragua, specifically the coffee, cacao, and corn. And there's a lot Nicaragua can offer as far as food tourism, but starting from a grassroots agricultural perspective, which is a lot more social and interactive.
Yeah. Well, as those resources are developed and as you have things to announce, please do keep us in mind. We have the world's largest community of both professionals, and we're building a community of consumers now. We have our Facebook group, so it's a great place to post these announcements, and then we can post it in our newsletter too for you.
Awesome.
And Jose Luis, thank you for taking time. You are a very busy man, so I think you probably, your time is very valuable. So thanks for making the time for the show today.
No worry, no worry. Yeah, thank you for understanding my English.
Your English is much better than my Spanish, so.
Okay.
All right, well, Jose Luis, Karen, and Thierry, thank you again very much for making the time today. This was really fascinating. And now I want to come to Nicaragua now and visit you and taste all that you have to offer. So thank you again.
Thanks.
Thank you, Erik.
All right. Thank you all.
Tour.
Thank you very much. So that wraps up our August Food Travel Talk TV. And join us next month where we will be talking about technology resources in the food and beverage tourism industry. Thank you all. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.